podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
This week on the Eerie, Jack, Josh, Grant and I theory-monger over the state of Welsh rugby, look back at our first win of the season and discuss the season going forward at Brewery Effect. Stay tuned.
This is the Ospreys Eerie.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined by Grant, Josh, Jack, as always. How are you doing, gents?
Evening.
Very good, thank you. Evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I'm pretty good, yeah. Surviving. Still not no drinks since the last pod, so on the wagon.
You're saying you didn't have a drink over the weekend celebrating?
Are we celebrating a Scarlet's loss and a nil at home, or are we celebrating an Ospreys win?
No comment.
Scarlet's performance was nothing to celebrate in any way. Oh my God.
No, it wasn't. Jokes aside, it really wasn't. Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll poke plenty of fun at that going through tonight. Let's move into the news, which is there's some bits in here. The first, probably the biggest bit, most relevant bit, is tonight there's a PRB meeting held with the WLU, which is basically deciding the future of Welsh rugby. We don't know anything about that. There's no leaks or anything out as we're recording this at 5:10. I'd give it an hour and there'll be something on Wales Online. Do we think it's going to be positive for us in the end, or what do we think is a solution they're going to find themselves going towards, gents? Are there any inclinations, or is it just sort of we're all in for a bit of a shitter?
I don't think it's going to be good news. I hope it's good news. I hope we stick with 4, but I don't know. Maybe 3. That seemed to be what I felt like all those interviews with Dave Redding were leading to. I think I said it on a previous pod. Just seems like they might go with 3, but you've had time to settle in and think about it, and then you look at it and they're talking about these phase models and in phases and so on, and it's just kind of like I haven't got a clue at this point. It wouldn't surprise me if we end up with 3 and then in 2 years' time they're like, right, we're going to phase down to 2 and then we're going to phase into the English Premiership. I don't know. It depends how much they want to put into what the fans have said and what the players have said. But you've also got a question like, do you think that they've learned anything new? Because I don't think the fans are ever going to say, yeah, let's get rid of the teams, right? So
The latest I'm hearing in the very unreliable Welsh rugby grapevine is that it's potentially looking like a 1+2, where one region is a super region with the other 2 on slightly lesser funding. Not from a reliable source at all. Not an unreliable Wales Online source, but a different unreliable source. But yeah, I don't know if it was mentioned in the meeting that potentially Lance has spoken to Y11 and said that if we were one of the 2 underfunded teams, they'd potentially, fill the gap of funding and get us back up to where we should be funding wise, because, they're a massive company who can potentially afford the additional couple of million to fund us. So whether that puts us in a strong position to potentially be one of the +2s, I don't know. But either way, it's not great preparation, is it? You've got Glasgow in a few days' time and you've got boys not knowing if they're going to have a job in a couple of years. And that for me is the hardest part. And even when we do get news of who it's going to be a 1+2 or whatever they go for, they're not going to reveal the teams anyway. So it's still going to be uncertainty. So how are you meant to recruit players? How are players meant to focus on their jobs, knowing that an injury could really finish off their rugby career? It puts the management and the players and everyone involved in all the regions in a very difficult position.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And from the point things are announced to whatever degree of detail, 2+1, 1+2, okay, 3 normal, 4, 2. I don't want to be guessing. Everybody's guessing. And the usual thing of when there's a void of information, the rumours go round and round and round, okay? I feel really sorry for the players and the staff of the clubs. I feel sorry for supporters. And you think, okay, from the point the announcement is made, look at the antagonism in terms of what's going to happen between supporters groups and people who are best mates and falling out. It's going to be a right mess because we've got 2 years to get ourselves straight. Whatever's announced, but don't listen to rumours. As a mate of mine from Crease 16 says, don't listen to Die Down the Pub or Die on Twitter these days.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, isn't it? I know I've making jokes about, Scots losses and things like that, but I would like to say that it is important that we all stick together at this time as fans and work towards what most people want, which is 4 teams. No one wants to lose their team, and it's like the speculation that you read and the speculation, that we hear, what we're actually talking about is people's jobs, people's livelihoods, and it's. Yeah, I think it's just like it's a ridiculous process to say, well, we're going to tell you if you've lost your job or not, but we're not going to tell you who's actually going to lose their jobs yet. We're just going to let you know that potentially you have lost your job. It's
There's a 33.3% chance that you have lost your job.
Yeah,
Enjoy
it just the whole thing just stinks, doesn't it? And it does it makes people, divisions and so on. And I think that showing a bit of compassion for your fellow teams and the fellow Welsh regions and fellow supporters is important at this time, and trying to band together is important. So yeah, I'll put my soapbox away now.
You can keep standing on your soapbox all night, Jack.
Right. I'm firmly of the opinion that it's a good thing that the Scarlets are around and there are 4 Welsh clubs, because if there weren't 4 Welsh clubs, who could I laugh at losing 34-0 to Stormers? Who could I laugh at?
There's a lot of infighting between the regions, but I think Dragons and the Scarlet should be quite thankful for the Ospreys, because if it wasn't for us, they'd be the only nilled sides this weekend. So you're welcome. There's now another nilled side, the Zebra. So yeah,
I want a club to join. Let's try and avoid that club.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that whatever news does come out is positive in some aspects.
The timescale should be what was set out originally with announcements at the end of the month. But when you look at the rumours that started popping out last night, everyone's expecting a full-blown announcement today. But we'll see if that's just, and if the rumours of an announcement today are just rumours, maybe the rumours of 1+2 is just a rumour. Don't get stressed by things you can't control. We've just got to sit here and wait now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Waiting for your parents to get up on Christmas.
I might have a drink while I'm waiting.
It could be a shit Christmas for a lot of people, this, Zach.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Slightly more positive piece of news. Ex-Osprey Toby Fricker has signed for the Dragons. There's obviously a bit of confusion about where he's moving on. Sorry, not for the Dragons, for Bristol. Last week, which is best for him. Been a bit of confusion since he's left the Ospreys. It's nice to see that he's still got a place in professional rugby. That's because Bristol look pretty good this season.
Yeah, we didn't see much of him at all, did we? Went up to London where I saw him play really well for about 20 minutes. Went off, saw him later in the Cabbage Patch quite late that evening with a boot on his foot again. Bought the poor man a beer of him. So yeah, wish him all the best.
Yeah, I think Bristol could do with all the luck they can get with injuries right now. So hopefully he can stay fit and get some game time. Because, yeah, as you say, Grant, I think when he was with us, he always really impressed when he got on the field. He just was unlucky that he couldn't necessarily get on the field as much as he wanted. But, yeah, he's got a real good chance now at Bristol to, earn himself another contract.
All the best to him in his future rugby endeavours. In the day, he looked pretty good for us. Let's hope he continues being pretty good. Moving on Saturday evening after the game, the Ospreys issued a statement. This is regarding the Q&A held on the 23rd of September, of which I'll just read the statement for the verbatim. That's it. On Tuesday, the 23rd of September, we held a fan engagement evening to manage the Q&A using an app which allows attendees to post questions. One audience member posted a question: are HOL conmen, HOL being the House of Luxury group that recently are attempting to buy a stake in the Scarlets, which briefly appeared on a large screen of the stage, Photos of the evening with this question visible in the background were subsequently published on our social media channels. We'd like to apologise to House of Luxury Group for the distress and upset caused by the publication of these photos. To House of Luxury Group board and to those connected with the company. Come on, really? It's quite funny. It's a little bit. It's a little bit quite a lot funny.
Really funny, Zach. I hate to say it, okay, but if they're upset by that, and they wanted Ospreys to make an apology, as far as I'm concerned, it's just backfired on them in terms of everyone laughing at it again. I was there on the evening. The question popped up. Everyone laughed for a few seconds, and it popped back off the screen as new questions kept on rolling in, and that was the end of it. We thought it was funny at the time. It ended up on social media at the time. The fact they've dug it, well, it seems like they've asked us to dig it back up is, I'm shocked.
It seems deeply unserious in every capacity, which is just quite funny. It's so almost petulant. The comment itself was probably quite petulant and not necessarily worth it, but at the same time, it's a fan. And if you can't deal with nasty fan comments in Welsh rugby, you're getting into a weird business opportunity. It doesn't feel particularly right.
Yeah, I mean, imagine getting upset at that. Like, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Where it's like, why are we wasting time on this when there's a bigger picture to discuss and there's bigger problems, and you're concerned about a person that you don't know, because it wasn't the Ospreys, it was a fan in the crowd, saying, tongue in cheek, I'm sure, are they con men? And then you're like, right, we want you. I'm going to assume, and I know you should never assume, but I'm going to assume that they were told they had to apologize. And so that seems kind of insane to me, to be honest. Like, I think we're focusing on the wrong things here, quite frankly. What happened to the joint statements that were being made a few months ago? So that's kind of...
I think the joint statement sort of stopped dead when we had 2 letters of complaint about planning permission for St Helens.
Yeah, so scoring points from each other is not doing anybody any good.
You're right there. Okay, if there's ever a point where it's not just Scarlets and Ospreys, but all 4 regions should be trying to work together, which is really difficult when the WRU own one of them. It should be now, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's the last thing. A lot from the Welsh public, which has never been too keen on regionalisation or regional in the first place, yet alone cross-region partnerships. It's best that, I think, generally, we look towards unity rather than division going forward. There's no point attacking each other's boards, particularly, especially when in 6 months' time one of them's not going to exist.
I think that's the whole problem, isn't it? With it's what the WRU are sort of perpetuating with the regions now. It's kind of put us in an impossible situation. As soon as they say, "Oh, we're not going to have 4, it's going to go down to 3," you're instantly not seeing them as co-teams. You're seeing them as direct rivals, potentially stopping your existence going forward. And that's when you're going to get the infighting of, we've got this, you've got that, but we haven't got this, you haven't got that. And teams get protective over these sort of things. And it's, at the end of the day, these are people's livelihoods, and people are going to be sensitive and defensive. And these are teams they've supported since they were, this high. So, I think it does all fall back to the WRU, sadly, where in the past, potentially it was a friendly rivalry or friendly, you can have friendly banter. Now it seems to be quite pointed, a lot of the talk between the fans. So, I put that blame fairly on the WRU's door again.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't blame you. It's trying times. Let's try and stay united going through this. Last piece of news, which is unfortunately once again on a slightly sour side, only a little bit. It's been confirmed to us, at least via our sources, of Nick Williams, that both Jack Morgan and Ryan Smith are unable for this weekend's fixture against Glasgow, which is a shame, but they should hopefully be back for the Dragons, which is nice that we get to see them both have a run out in this first split, even. Any thoughts, gents, or are we just sort of disappointed?
I'm sure the players are disappointed, and especially Jack. Couldn't tell you about how disappointed Ryan is. Love him because we haven't seen anything of him yet, have we? But reliable source, as in I think Nick was talking to them at the game. So yeah, I had a handover over a pint in the Riverside Tavern post game with Nick, which was nice. But you got to look, and the balance on the team on the weekend was really good. The way we managed to substitute, we'll come on to that in a bit, but it's still going to be strengthened, and if you've got those two available.
Yeah, 100%. And I would also look at it quite positively. I think when you heard Mark Jones talking about it at the weekend in his post-match interview, he had sort of James Ratty stood next to him, who was superb. And he did sort of hint at the fact that, we've made this new signing in second row. He hasn't been available yet, but he's still got to earn his place in the team, because at the moment they've all kind of had their started with Ratty, Sutton, Rhys Davis, and they've all stepped up and they've all been superb. So, doesn't mean he's going to be able to walk straight into the side, and I'm sure he'll really prove himself. But at the same time, Devesy's been unbelievable. So I would not be taking him out of the side anytime soon, because he doesn't deserve that. I think it's disappointing we haven't seen him so far, but other boys have really stood up and we've seen some really strong performances. And also they're coming back potentially for Dragons, which is our bogey team, away from home. So imagine the lift that's going to bring if they can be, if they can come off the bench for that game. And later on, where potentially we have lost out in the past, we've got that experience coming on. So yeah, there's lots to be positive about.
Let's be positive going forward then.
Yeah, because we know Jack is going to make a difference to the match day 23, isn't he? He will strengthen the match day 23. And there's a lot of hope around Ryan Smith doing the same, isn't there? But again, yeah, we know Jack will do it. Ryan's now going to prove himself, as Josh just said, isn't it, to earn his place in that 23 now.
Let's hope he does it.
Yeah.
Be a big boost, just have another big lump in the second row. Yeah. Not that we're missing out on many of those at the moment. Speaking of big lumps in the second row, let's move on to the game where we played 4 second rows. Zebra at home. We won 24-0, and we probably left a good 14, 20 points out there, gents. I mean, it was a good performance, don't get me wrong, but are we going to miss a bonus point come the garbage end of the season?
Maybe not. I think over 3 games we picked up 5 points from it.
Yeah.
And we were saying, yeah, if you look at it pessimistically, you would have thought, yeah, 5 would be the minimum. We've got the minimum of what we expected. We didn't get any extras. I think, yeah, we failed to get bonus points abroad. We failed to get a bonus point at home, but we still scored, was it 13 tries in 3 games? So, who knows? Yeah, it's so tight, isn't it, in terms of top 4 and top 8, in terms of getting into the top 8 and then getting a home draw as well, which is all important. Yeah, so yeah, any point picked up is potentially important.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you look at the points on the board, 5 points from 3 games is probably par for the course, really. But I think if you look at the performances behind those points, I think that's what's to be really, you can be really encouraged about. We're scoring tries, as Grant says. We're looking creative. Our scrum looked remarkably better on the weekends, which is great. I know it was slightly rotated 0 side, but I think that'll give the boys a lot of confidence. Set piece looks great. Moriarty looks fantastic. So I think there's so much to be positive about off the back of that performance. That even though we didn't get the bonus point, and yeah, we probably left a few chances out there, as Mark Jones said after the game, I'd rather we were creating those chances and maybe missing them than not creating them at all. So yeah, I still see it as a massive positive, even though, yeah, I do agree, potentially 1 point lost.
some of those chances we created were superb. It must be said. Morgan Morse's try was glorious.
Yeah, I watched it back and I watched the last two phases. Out of the 15 players in the field, how many do you reckon touched the ball in those last couple of phases?
14. I don't think Glasgow got his hands on it.
I go for 11.
Okay,
Go 12.
Jack,
I'll go 12.
Tell you, Jack is spot on. It was 12. Yeah, as you say, Kasande didn't touch it. I don't think Deavesy touched it, but he hit a ruck beforehand to win us the ball. And I think the only other one was potentially Hugh Sutton who didn't touch it, but everyone else touched the ball, and that's including, Tom Bofa, who's not necessarily renowned for his dexterity. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. The rugby we're playing under Mark Jones is, it's exciting.
Yeah. When it clicks, it really does click. We saw it against the Stormers, saw it against the Bulls, we saw it again against Zebra. Some of the moves and some of the kind of passing is actually really, really top draw. I just slightly, I wonder what you guys make of this. I'm slightly concerned, but sometimes we seem to just lose our way in games for periods, and we managed to get that back against Zebra, but it still felt there was a drop off. And I think in the games in South Africa as well, you could kind of feel it at the end of games where foot was on the pedal, foot was on the pedal, foot was on the pedal. And then when the team, when the Stormers or the Bulls kind of came back into it, we found it really hard to actually get that momentum back. It's almost like as soon as there's a swing momentum, we find it hard to. And even with Zebra to an extent, I thought that really good start, really good play. And then towards the end, obviously there was the opportunity for Ratty and the opportunity for Florence. But it still felt like things got a little bit bitty. And there seemed to be a little bit of a loss of that impetus that you see when they score those tries where you got 12 people touching the ball and everything's being played well. I don't know if that's something that everyone else is kind of seeing to an extent as well. But
I wrote the headline for the game of it was ambition versus execution, which is the difference between the bonus point and not the bonus point. But I think in terms of the execution, it was the skill levels were there, weren't they? But every now and again, it would just seem to lose away and lose our concentration and make the odd mistake. When you look at the general way we perform, it's some of the mistakes is don't expect to see those mistakes in a performance apart from them, which is that good.
Yeah.
The skill level is there, isn't it? It's just every now and again the execution wanders off slightly.
Yeah.
Only slightly. And it's best to learn from these early doors in the season, isn't it? When it's not a tight game, rather than lose games because of leaving 14 points on the pitch.
100%. I think that's spot on. That we left a few chances out there, but I think those are one-offs. I don't, Morgan Morse getting stripped just before the line. I can't see that. That's not a theme that's going to occur throughout the season. Hopefully, Tom Florence, I think if he was given that chance 9 times out of 10, he gives that pass inside and they score. And I thought he was brilliant when he came on. He made a couple of clean breaks and I thought he looked really, really creative. And he'll learn from that. And that last play of the game, I thought for me that probably was a slap down. I'm not blaming the referee. We did have plenty of chances before that, but I'm surprised he didn't take another look because what have you got to lose by taking another look?
It's very 50-50 and it'd be a bit rubbing salt in the wounds to Zebra in theory. I can see why he doesn't.
I get that, but it's professional sport and it's what could be a point between us getting top 8 and not getting top 8. I'd rather him have another look and make a decision off the back of that.
We had so many chances in the last 5 minutes to win the game, didn't we? We couldn't take them. So, yeah. We messed up enough opportunities to. I think that is that's very high challenge. That is, Josh.
I just wanted to see it again, and he seemed very keen to blow his final whistle. I was like, we're not having another look. Oh no, right, Premier Sport.
Sometimes you just want to go for the pub, and I don't blame him.
He's off to the Riverside Tavern afterwards for some scampi fries and a pint.
Cheapest beer in Bridgend. Brilliant, fantastic. Like a kid in a sweet shop, or like an adult in a cheap pub. Well, it wasn't quite a free bar, Jack, but it was close enough.
Yeah.
£3 fine.
Oh, so bad, is it? Gosh.
Obviously, you were there, Grant. What was the atmosphere like in the?
It it was good. And again, you could tell, you could see when we went, as Jack said, we sort of went off the boil for a bit, and it did quieten down a bit. But in general, people were doing their best to make a bit of noise. I was doing my best to make a bit of noise, and it was all right. It wasn't as noisy as been for some of the other games, because some of the other games have been derbies as well, and then European games and big ones. But yeah, it didn't feel like a Swansea.com sort of knitting club atmosphere.
Yeah, 100%. I think, as you say, because I think we were quite comfortable quite early on and not looking like we're going to lose a game. If it's a tight game against Glasgow, let's say this weekend, I can imagine that probably picks up the atmosphere a little bit as well. And I don't know if 3:00 on a Saturday is the best time, because obviously there's a lot of local teams who play at that time, and people supporting their local clubs. So would Saturday night, do you reckon, that'd be a better time?
Yeah. Observation of the last couple of games in Bridgend is, when you're there, you realise there's a lot of rugby boys who are normally playing rugby there.
Yeah.
And so on the terraces, there's a lot of rugby club boys who are normally playing. So I'd expect a significantly bigger crowd on Saturday. You think 3:00 on Saturday would be ideal, but you are competing against other games, and there were quite a few games around Bridgend, or some of them were cancelled. But it will make a difference if it's not at the prime local kickoff for the community rugby.
I think the optics of it are good though. So like on TV, for instance, seeing like stands that are full, it looks a lot better. There's nothing worse than when you're watching on TV and you see like empty stands, empty seats, big. So the size of it is actually good for the optics in terms of the league as well, I think, and for what people are seeing on TV. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And the pitch looks beautiful as well. They've done a great job at that. I think the actual turf looks great. Whether it will look great in December for the derbies, we'll find out. But yeah.
Well, you'd like to think they can find some sets of lights with new, like they've got in some of the bigger stadia. But having said that, the stands aren't big enough to cover the grass, mind are they? It's not in the shade. Apart from the fact it's in Wales and it's always in the shade.
Let's circle back to the game then. Who are your boys' top performance out of that? There's a great team performance, as we said, but which boys really stood out in that? I'll happily put a name first and say Phil Cocknessinger again. Lovely take and try. Is really giving us go forwards and outside centre, and his hands and his feet, it just seems so good. It's great to see him fit running rugby, to be fair.
Yeah, he's got pace, he's got a step. He threw a dummy on 29 minutes, which reminded me of Josh Mattersvezi. It was so deliberately stupid. The ball disappears off, he extremely pulls it back in. But yeah, he's got the skill set, and But in terms of individuals, there's a lot of team stuff to talk about. In terms of individuals, Jack Walsh again just looks like he's finding rugby easy right now. He can decide whether he wants to burn people or step people. Okay, it's pleasure to watch him play right now. And positionally, he's settling into fullback really well now. It's not often he gets beaten by a ball bouncing into touch these days. It does happen still, but
yeah, no, he's unbelievable. And I think when later on, when Lake went off, I think he was captain, which is great for his development, and hopefully shows how close he is with the boys. I think he loves living in Australia. So yeah, because I always worry with players like that. Are we going to be able to keep hold of them? But he does genuinely seem to love it there. Loves the vibe. So yeah, hopefully we can keep hold of him. And he's also potentially Welsh qualified in a couple of years. So yeah, I think
don't let him out of the country. Just keep him here.
100%. And yeah, obviously, like leading on from that, I think Keith was obviously amazing again. Carried really well. But my take on it is, and people may disagree, is that when you have a Keith like 12, you kind of want a second ball player at 15. And I think Jack offers that in spades. So you can have Keith coming hard and Jack just sitting out the back, being that second pair of eyes. And I just think that the balance of the whole team, whether you look at the back row or the backs in general, I think it looks so balanced. And Kasende and Giles are working off their wings really well, creating extra numbers. And it almost feels like there's not a standout performer because they're all standing out. They're all taking on players. They're all, when they're getting one-on-ones, they're thinking, no, I can beat my man here. I can get an offload away, which is obviously exciting. And yeah, I'll just call out one Zebra player as well. Sorry, it was great to see Peter Richards come out of retirement, the ex Gloucester scrum half. I definitely thought that Zebra player was a spitting image. I think he was just the blonde dreadlocks. But if you look up Peter Richards, Gloucester, ex-England scrum half, honestly, yeah, I was like, oh, that's Peter Richards. He's back. He's back.
Well, pound shop faff haircut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it Keith, okay, in terms of post like game line meters, okay, him and Deavesy in particular and Ratty, okay, they did so well, didn't they, going into contact and keeping on going. You know, that made a big difference. I think, well, it made the difference for Cockney-Siggers try, didn't it? You know, in terms of just pushing the defence back and shuffling people about. They're brilliant.
Yeah, I think Deeves on his 50th cap for the Ospreys was brilliant again. Keep saying it. It's just like these. You're just expecting 7, 8 out of 10 from him every game now.
Yeah.
I think James Ratty was very good as well. Ratty was very, very, very good. Yeah, I think that kind of the pack with Moriarty as well, adding a bit of edge to it, as he always does. It's just looking really good, really balanced. And that's the thing, right? Like, we're talking about Jack Morgan coming back, who is the lion and the star man, but it's almost like, no, don't disrupt it. You know? I know that seems insane to say, but it's they're looking really, really good, particularly in the back row. Yeah, I think that's I think that would be.
We know we got a good back row, Jack, don't we? But when you look at what, I'd like to know what your opinions are on the substitutions around on the starting lineups for the front row and the second row.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're using them, right? Is the way I would say. It's kind of like, because Fender, I thought Fender at the start of the year would be someone who would be starting more, given how he ended last season. But it seems to be like really using them as impact subs. It's almost like I feel like they are, these players are being used now to come on, and we don't just have a good starting group, but they are actually being used as finishers, a lot like you would see. You know, I mean, this is a very but like South Africa would use their pack, for instance, right, and so on. So yeah, I think it's interesting, particularly seeing that like they all come on quite early on, particularly the front row. You saw the front row come on very early on it was like 50th minute or something like that, right? And so there's definitely a tactical decision being made, which is, yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to see a team have those options. It's nice to see that we have those options. So yeah, I've been fairly happy with how they're being used as well. I don't know if, people agree or disagree, but
I'd agree with that. I think they've rotated the second rows really well, as I say, like giving them all a start. And then I think almost because of that potential lull we've had between 40 and 60 in quite a few of the games, I think he is conscious of that and getting the front 5 replacements on early. And the way we seem to have played against Zebra, not as much in South Africa, but a little bit, we're going for a lot of high phase count. We don't seem to be, a lot of teams sort of go through 3 phases. If there's no gain line, we're kicking. Whereas we seem to be going for a very high phase count. And I'd imagine that probably takes a lot more of our front row's legs out. If we're looking at, Tommy Bofa, Gad Thomas, and even with Lake, with him being substituted earlier, I think he was one of the top carriers, one of the top tacklers again, because he just gets through so much work. So I wonder if it's to prevent that lull. You're taking them off when they're still pretty much at their top level, just slightly dipping. You're instantly bringing on fresh legs. I did think the front row replacements were great as well when they came on. I thought, the scrum obviously functioned really well. Garen's really done really well when he's come on, and hopefully Ben Warren can kick on now.
I did like the balance in terms of start with a really good front row and a mobile second row. And then when you've got to put on our reserve front row, who aren't as strong scrummaging wise, we put two monsters on the pitch. So you look at our scrum success, and it was spot on, wasn't it? So yeah, tactics are working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been mega impressed with Mark Jones' selection. I think he's been pretty much bang on in the first 3 games, to be honest. I think he's rotated really well when he needs to, and he's kept legs fresh. So yeah, spot on.
Speaking of selection, Wales squad gets announced next week on the 21st. I'm going to be about midday 1-ish. I don't think the time's been released, but I feel it'll be quite fun that we can go through some Ospreys players and how likely we think we're going to be in the squad. I think it'll be a bit of fun. Don't you boys agree? Not many smiles, I see.
Nah, not for the whole talk about rugby.
I guess this talking about Wales, but you know. Let's start off in the front row. We're obviously counting Nicky Smith as he's at Leicester on loan, obviously. Surely is going. Do we think Darren Smith makes it in?
Yeah, because obviously you got Nicky Gareth, obviously in the first season. Yeah, who's that third one going to be? I don't think Wyn Jones is particularly impressed. Like Scarlets have struggled, so I don't think any of their props are going to be knocking on the door. Again, Cardiff, I can't really see many of their boys kicking off. So yeah, potentially would be Garen. If you look someone to come in, obviously Reece Carey's been doing very well for Saracens, but he's not available because
he's not eligible. He's got 21 caps, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he won't be available. Otherwise, I'd say he could be potentially be the third.
Yeah. Well, I was watching them play for Saracens against Bristol, and it's a travesty that. I mean, I do question though if you've got 2 players who are really good in like all around the pitch in Lake, and then would that work?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but yeah, Reece Carey is he's a monster. But anyway, let's not talk about things we can't have. Anyway, yeah, I think Garen Phillips is a good shout. Particularly as that like third choice, kind of like good for him to be in and around and training squads and so on. So yeah, I don't see why not.
Maybe a bit of outside shout for him, but he's promising. I guess the only maybe I could see like a Corey Domachowski or even a Danny Southworth out of Cardiff going out, because Cardiff's scrum has been pretty good so far this season. But I don't know. I think that third choice Loosehead is very much up in the air at the moment. It'll be interesting to see who gets it. Moving on to hooker, do we think Derry's going if naturally?
100%. Yeah.
I don't think any other boys are getting really a look in. I think hooker's somewhere where we've got a decent amount of stocks, Wales wise at least.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I know he's not an Osprey, but if I was Tandy, I'd be getting the begging bowl out. Not begging bowl, but I'd be getting in the ear of Kepu Turbalotta at Bath and just saying that, do you want to join us in the squad? I see a big future in you, because I think he has got a massive future. And I think he has fallen down the England pecking order. I don't think he'll make the England squad. I think they'll go for Jabulu. Yeah, I do my best to try and get him in the Wales squad. Whether that will happen, I don't know. I don't know if he's interested in Wales still, but I'll do my best to try and convince him if I was Tandy, because he's got a huge future.
Be a good grab him. He has looked pretty awesome so far. It's just, have we lost him to England already? What's even?
I would suggest if he does come to Wales, he doesn't come to the Ospreys, because otherwise we'll be like the Scarlets centres. We'll have all the hookers here.
Well, yeah. Do you see the news about Lake and Gloucester? Apparently, Gloucester have earmarked 300k for a new hooker, and Lake's on the list. But yeah, hopefully, yeah. So I was in Wales Online, so it could be absolute rubbish, to be fair.
Yeah.
No comment. Tight head, do we think that Tom Beaufort is actually going to get called up by some miracle, or is it maybe a bit past? Or alternatively, we're seeing a Reece Henry or even a Ben Warren go again. Ben Warren was obviously touring with them in the Six Nations last year.
There's a real shortage at 3, isn't it, around Wales? Or, yeah, you might end up with someone in the squad, but I wouldn't have, there's highly likely they're going to be near the match day starting squad, unless Tom Beaufort does get the call up. Was it the Storm? Was it a 40-year-old prop starting on the weekend?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Call me crazy, but I quite like my tight heads to be able to scrummage first before they do anything around the field. So I wouldn't mind a Tommy Beaufort, even if he does very little. He's shown he's got dexterity as well under Mark Jones. So yeah, I would not be against Beaufort being in the squad, because there's not a lot your backs can do if your scrum's retreating.
Yeah.
And I heard Harley talking on the Rap Pod about Azarati and the fact he's very technically good, but the reason he gets driven backwards is because he's not very big. So that's going to be a bit of a problem then, isn't it? If I had wheels, I'd be a bike. So yeah, brilliant. He's technically a great scrummager, but he is getting driven backwards because he's not big enough, and that's not going to change anytime soon. And unfortunately, South Africa, Argentina, and New Zealand,
big boys.
Yeah. Pretty big prop. So yeah, I'd almost rather see someone with more potential, someone like Ben Warren, who's a big guy in their head, someone like Azarati. It's a bit of worry. Archie Griffin's now 4th choice at Bath. We need to get him back to Wales. He's
been coming off a bench a lot this season so far. But
he came off, yeah. So the first 2 games they were all without Detroit and Stewart for Lions in South Africa duty, but he was still coming off the bench because he's behind Seller now. So now Detroit and I know this isn't a Bath pod, but now Detroit and Stewart are back. He's 4th choice. He's potentially 4th choice tight head now between Seller, Detroit, and Stewart. 2 really good props out of those 3, but that is concerning that Wales' potentially best tight head is 4th choice at his club.
Archie Griffin would be a good grab for us, to be fair. Big lad, give him to Duncan, so make this man a monster.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
I think Ben Warren probably goes, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Ben Warren probably does go. If you look at the other options, there's not many.
I guess that's all. Chris Coleman.
Yeah.
I know.
Scarlett's tight heads is not.
Is Henry Thomas injured? I'm not sure.
He
played against.
He did play against the Storms. He went backwards a lot, but he did play against them.
He did play. Yeah, he survived pulling down that ruck, didn't he? Where I thought they just had a yellow card. If anyone's going to get a yellow card, it should be him for pulling down the roll ball, piling towards the line. He just sacrificed himself, laid down, and pulled everyone on top of him. Look at.
I think, yeah, I wouldn't be a million miles away from having, if Reece Henry could get a run of games together, him being knocking on the door. I think the autumn will come too soon because of his injuries, but for the Six Nations, I like scrummaging tight heads. I like big tight heads who are going to win me scrums. That is all I care about.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'd give to see big sexy in a Wales jersey. Moving on, locks. I think we're going to be supplying most of the squad at this point in locks. I don't like. Is there a fit lock in Wales other than an Osprey? There aren't any of the Scarlets. Teddy Williams is notably probably Crocs for a while. Horrific injury on the weekend.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Shame to see because he's very, very good. I guess the Dragons have Ben Carter probably knocking on the door. Probably incumbent. Has been probably deserving of more caps he's got given. Who else is really looking to get in?
Is Gav Jenkins fit at the moment, an extra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's playing pretty well.
The was it, up in Gloucester as well, the second row, right?
Freddie Thomas.
Yeah.
And another Osprey on loan, Adam Beard's tearing up trees at Montpellier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Montpellier's player of the month last month, wasn't it?
Was it? Oh, yeah.
Or something like that.
I was about to say, like, does Hugh Sutton go? Because he's been great, I think. But now you've said all those names, I'm thinking.
Well,
I think he's been good. I think he's really surprised me. I think he's been really good in the 2 games that he's played. I think
I
he's been
think one of Hugh Sutton and James Fender goes. I'm not sure which one. Just as an out and out tie headlock.
Yeah.
I think James Ratty's pretty much with Teddy Williams out. It's probably going at this rate.
Raki is an option for easier cover for back row, second row, isn't he? Potentially.
Yeah. Reece Davis go?
If you want bulk on the pitch, you take Reece.
Yeah.
For me, he's the nailed on one for me. The Osprey second rows, I think. I can't wait to see him in a Wales shirt.
Yeah.
Did he have a cap? I know he's in the 23 World Cup training squad. I don't know if he got caps in the warm-ups.
I'm sure he has, but might be wrong.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it'd be absolutely superb. I think there's a very decent chance we have 3 locks in the squad.
So you're going for Ratty, Davis, and Fender, or
that would be my initial 3, and then 4 if you include Adam Beard and line.
Yeah, for me, I think it'll be a toss-up between Freddie Thomas at Gloucester and Ratty. Obviously, I'd go Ratty. I thought, as you say, I think he was brilliant at the weekend. But I think that second row 6 hybrid, I think it'll be a toss-up between those 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I believe it. Just hope Ratty gets in. He's been deserving of more Wales caps than he's had. To be fair, he's been utterly awesome, especially on the weekend. All right, back row.
All of them. There we are.
Yeah, every single one.
Apart.
Yeah, I can go with that. DZ, Morsey, Morris, Moriarty, Jack Morgan.
Missed anyone?
I'm being genuine though. Like,
Do you need anyone?
I don't. Maybe Alan Lawrence in Cardiff goes as 8, maybe as an 8, but
Wainwright's probably going.
Wainwright's going.
Ref will get picked again.
Yeah.
Maybe depends if
there's good players about, but if you look at it this way, put an Ospreys hat on, you say, right, who deserves to displace any of those boys? It's really tight, isn't it? But the fact we've got that many who really should be in the conversation and in Tandy's line of sight is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really see Morgan Morse going. I think after Tame Thumptrey's actions in the weekend, I don't think Thumptrey's going at all.
Look, if you're not going to call Morgan Morse up now in the autumn to play against, like Japan or somebody, and give him a run out and get him, cap and whatever else, like when are you going to call him up? You're like, it's one of those where he didn't go on the tour in the summer for whatever reason, but at some point you need to just see him in a Wales shirt because you're either good enough or you're not, right? And I think he's more than good enough. So yeah, he's definitely going, in my opinion. Going to be called up.
To be honest, I just need a Welsh type machine to combat that with Henry Pollux. I just need someone to sort of put him in his place, just a little bit.
Yeah, I've never seen an 8 hit the line a Welsh 8 hit the line at that pace with the angles he's picking. It's like Faletau can break the game line, can he? But Morgan Morse sometimes he's taking the ball and no one's near him for the first 10 yards because the angles he's picking, he's like an outside centre at points, isn't he? Because the weekend.
Yeah. I'll be shocked if he doesn't. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't go. I'll be sad if he doesn't go. I really hope Deepsy goes. I really hope Deepsy goes.
Yeah, that's the one I'm not sure about. I think he should go. I'll be really sad if he doesn't, but it is 50-50 for me. Because you said you got Reffel and players like that who could be called up. So
It's like, I think for the first time in a while, we're looking fit. Wales are looking quite light at 7. I think it's Jack Morgan who would have played maybe 2 games before going to the internationals. Tommy Reffel. And what DP? And that's it. That's like out and out open sides.
yeah,
Alex Mann can do it, but he's turned into a pro bastard 6. Tame Plumtree is putting him in the open side, just giving away 15 penalties a game.
Yeah, for me, I love Rafael as a player. I just think whenever he's come off the bench for Wales, he hasn't necessarily added the impact that I want. He's brilliant at turnovers, but I just think as an all-action 7, I think Deves offers you so much, and I'd be excited to see him come off the bench for, come onto the pitch last 20 minutes and just tear into everything. In those 20 minutes, you make 15, 20 tackles, you make 2 turnovers, a couple of line breaks, a few filthy offloads. He'll just do it all. And I think he's one of those players that you won't know until he gets a chance, but when he gets a chance, he'll take it.
well, the problem is, isn't it, is that Harry Deves and Jack Morgan aren't line-out options.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't either particularly.
Hmm?
Rafael isn't either particularly.
No, and that's the thing, right? Like they're all quite like I wouldn't say small because they're all massive blokes, but like they're just not line-out options. I don't know how else to put it.
Shortish.
Short-ish, yeah.
Under 6'2".
But with obviously with if you have someone like Moriarty in there, then that's less of a problem. But yeah, that I think that's the only thing for me
yeah,
is the line out options and jumpers.
Well,
Okay.
go and tell Deves he's too small.
I'm all right.
He'll probably help his game no end.
I'll pass on that one. I didn't say small. That's not that. Those are not the words I used. Or like that.
Not tall.
I would like a written apology from you, Grant, and I would like it posted.
Yeah. You might see the word in it, you might laugh.
Let's move into a back seven, which I think we might have fewer options. But surely both 9s, Rupert and Hardy, go. They've both been pretty good for us. They've both been excellent for us. And Rupert, after his first cap, 100% win record in a Welsh jersey.
Yeah.
Can't really say no to that. And Kieran Hardy is probably the incumbent 9 at the moment in Wiltshire.
Well, Thomas Williams is fit and well, isn't he?
Yeah,
He wasn't there in the summer.
I stand clarified.
But yeah, they're great, and Ruben deserved his cap no end. Okay, Hardy's kicking is spot on. Josh has picked it up before. I went back and watched the game and looked at his kicking for the time he was on the pitch. It's perfect. Most of the time, it's perfect.
Yeah, I do think that comes from training with Hardy as well. I can just see them practicing their box kicking and being absolutely ruthless with each other in terms of hang time and placement, and it's he's really worked on that part of his game because we know the other parts of his game are class.
But I think 9s is pretty cut and clear. I don't think Khaliki Dye is getting a look in. He's not quite at the level. Good scrum half, not quite Wales quality at the moment. 10, I think it's Dan. It's just Dan. I wouldn't be shocked if he's the only out and out 10 in the squad to an extent.
I think Sheedy probably goes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's been really good, Sheedy. I think Sheedy and Dan Edwards would be the two.
Take Ben Thomas's cover if need be. But
he'll go to 12, won't he? I think so.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting squad, isn't it? To see what Tandy wants to do.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, but Dan Edwards goes for me.
Yeah. And it feels like this will be the first squad he goes into where he's going into it as the first choice 10. He's not sitting behind Costello, and it's a fresh pair of eyes and Tandy coming in. So I'm excited to see Dan Edwards really take the reins and see whether he can take the team and drive the team around like he has been for Ospreys for the last few seasons.
I think his game's evolved a lot actually, or is evolving all the time. If you look at he seems to have a lot more control in his game at the moment as well, in terms of like his kicking options and so on. It's not always these like, he's always at pace and break the line and a good highlight reel, so to speak. Like he was always capable of magic, but it seems to be as well like his kind of like just keeping the game ticking over, controlling it, that kind of thing, picking his times to go or not to, is developing all the time. So I think that like that's definitely working in his favor, and I think it would be good. Like I think getting game time for Wales as well. I think definitely he, for me, would be the first choice for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Agreed.
I think the only other really backs having a look in. Do we think Keith makes it?
What more can he do?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Again, it all depends on what Tandy wants, doesn't
Yeah.
it? This, I was thinking about it, funnily enough, when I was thinking about this a lot today when I was supposed to be working. Drifted off, and I was thinking, does Keith go? Yes or no? And yeah, it just all depends on what you want at 12. He's going to get you go forward.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Johnny Williams goes. Based on his performance the other night. So I think probably should, because I think he gives a different option as well. Say you're going to play like a playmaker at 12, it's just not working. Getting Keith on just to run hard and straight, like, why not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's he has this point of difference that nobody else has at 12, which is I know that everyone's like, oh, but he doesn't do X, Y, and Z well, but like, well, he does this one thing better than everybody else. So why we'll just focus on that? Do you know what I mean? You don't have to be able to do everything. That's why there's players and every team of 15 people doing different functions in a game of rugby. So yeah, I think he goes, because otherwise, and if he doesn't, I'll write a letter to Steve Tandy saying, what more can this man do to get in the team?
I think, I'm with you 100%. Without question, he's in the squad. My worry is Matt Sherratt's the attack coach. We know how he likes to play. He likes his ball playing 12. And he likes Ben Thomas. And I can see Keith being in the squad, but it being a really frustrating squad again, where he isn't given the minutes, he isn't given the reps, and they stick with Ben Thomas at 12, which I am not in favour of.
Yeah.
We've tried that. It hasn't worked.
Yeah, I was going to say, am I the only one who, like, initially I was all for Ben Thomas at 12. I was like, yeah, he looks a player. And then as it's gone on, I've been like,
he hasn't really
not
kicked
working.
on. He's not quite kicked on.
No, that's the thing, isn't it? So
like, his big question was always he can't really carry at international level. And that's true. He can't really carry that an inside centre sort of needs to. If you look at the best teams in the world, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Ireland, New Zealand, they all have big 12s with hands on top of them rather than players with hands who can carry. And I think Keith's hands nowadays are good enough.
Yeah.
Especially if he's running a dummy line or putting a ball out back. His balls at the back recently have been superb, and I think his hands have been crucially underrated. He may not be sort of an incumbent playmaker, but his hands are certainly very good for a 12, especially when you're trying to play try and get some football at the same time.
He can pass a ball about as well as Jamie Roberts. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. And as you're saying, Jack, like people say you can only do one thing, but that one thing, running over blokes, is a pretty good thing to have, and it will give us front foot ball and gain line.
Yeah.
And he plays against some of the biggest centres in the league, and
he still gets to go forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do think the one player is competing with that spot in the midfield, though, is Joe Hawkins.
Yeah.
Who is obviously a 12 who can play 10, natural playmaker, was great for us. Was pretty okay at Exeter. The Scarlets, as you know, they're playing for the Scarlets. There's only so much you can't really stand out. Bless him, but
You got Eddie James as well, haven't you?
he's just injured at the moment.
Is he injured at the moment?
Yeah, he's out at least until at least after the break. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Scarlets seem to have stockpiled a lot of the Welsh centres. We've still got the best ones, to be fair, in Keith and Owen. But yeah, I do have a theory because there was all those rumours that Ospreys were in for Roberts and Eddie James at one stage last season when they were up for re-signing. I don't think we're in for them at all. I think we're just pushing up their price, using up Scarlet's budget. Scarlets were never going to let them go across to us, were they? But yeah, Scarlets ended up spending a bit more in their budget on those two centres. And now they've got about 14 centres in the squad and no decent second rows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your Jake Paul's back, mate. Come on now.
Sounds right. I think the last place that we maybe have one in is different Keelan Joes.
He performed in Japan, didn't he? When he was given his opportunity, he did really well. There's some stiff competition from elsewhere on the wings, but yeah, he proved himself. He should be an international in style back in the summer.
I think my concern is that Tom Bowen is the hot shit at the moment. Yeah. He's probably competing with him from the same spot. Does he make it over Tommy Bowen?
I say, well, do we? So for me, it all hinges on: are they going to play Zamet a fullback, or are they going to play him on the wing? Because he'll be back for the autumn internationals, right? I think.
I heard some crazy people saying Zamet the first team.
Oh Jesus!
The old George North move.
Yeah.
No. Let's not entertain that.
You're in charge of the defense. You've never played there before. No looking to play.
You're gonna play in the most defensively difficult position on the pitch. We know you like to run straight and hard, and you don't particularly like tackling. But that's where you go. No. So if he plays at fullback, we're gonna have the Matt Sherratt big wing, little wing thing, right? Which is what he likes to do. So who's going to be the big winger?
Josh Adams?
Elliot, me, Tom Rogers, all options that have been used in the last 12 months, haven't
they? Yeah. Or
thanks.
And then so Bowen or Giles. So Giles, I think, will probably get a call up then, right?
Yeah.
Irregardless of where he starts or not. If Zamet plays on the wing, then like he's big and fast. And so you could theoretically have two big wingers. Because he offers all the things that Sherratt likes in a winger, but he's also pretty big. You see where I'm going with this? Which is that then the wings are tied up, and I reckon that Keelan Giles doesn't go. And Bowen instead.
I'm going to say Tom Bowen, though, it is massively exciting, and his time will come. The way he's performed this season, it's been unfortunately a joy to watch, and it must be a fantastic joy to watch if you're a Cardiff supporter.
I do agree.
Let them have their flashy wingers and sevens who can jackal.
It's all very Hollywood, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I do agree, but I think in Welsh rugby we're very focused on the next shiny thing.
Yeah.
And I remember when Keelan Giles burst on the scene, and he was scoring tries left, right, and centre, beating players, and everyone was, he's got to play for Wales. He's then spent the next 10 years working on the rest of his game, and he now offers himself around the field. I'd love to know how many touches he gets where he's working off Dan Edwards, and he's worked on all the nuts and bolts of his game. He's very good aerially now. And I think, Tom Bowen is now offering you X factor moments, but I don't know if he gives you the nuts and bolts of an international winger in terms of his aerial ability, his defensive reads. Does he work off his wing enough to offer himself outside Sheedy? I don't know if he does. And I think I'm biased again, so, take everything I say with a pinch of salt. But for me, I'd have Keelan all day ahead of Tom Bowen.
I think that Keelan Giles, maybe the first to suggest this, I'm gonna name it the Eli Walker Vortex. which is that you're always knock on the door, then you get injured, and then you never quite get there. You're more than good enough.
Yeah.
And then other people tend to come in and say, I think McLeod might also be in the Eli Walker vortex, which is
Yeah, but I don't think he's good enough.
which is yeah. And so I think I worry that that's kind of what's happened with Keelan a bit, which is that he's just been really unfortunate at times of injuries he's got, and then other people have got to look in, and now it's getting harder and harder to get in there because obviously you're planning for the future and you're planning for, and Bowen definitely looks like one for the future, but yeah, that old saying is if you're good enough, then you're good enough. So why not bring in him? And then the wing positions seem to be just really competitive now with Zamet coming back as well.
To be fair, Keelan's still 27. He's not old by any means.
Sure.
Still quite young. Oh, he's got another
My
4 years.
question is, did we ever find out if Cassende had eaten a Welsh cake or had a grandmother from Neath?
I don't know. I think he was playing for Congo over the summer, so I don't think so.
Well, Dan come tell you. Can't believe that. Yeah. He had a quiet game, didn't he, on the weekend? Mainly because he didn't have it like endless restarts, go and chase back and steal.
He had a bit of a scrap to make up for it, didn't he? So
yeah.
Good lads. I think. Is there any other Ospreys we've forgotten to mention that I'm not bringing off the top of my head?
No,
I think anyone else has got a realistic look in.
I think Mark Jones has run out of players in the squad. If you need anyone to make up the numbers, Mark, I'm happy to step in for a couple of training sessions if you want.
At 10.
Yeah, at 10, yeah.
Or 1 or 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of those things, I don't think I'd stand up again after. I'd just be lying there on the floor. Leave me here.
Yeah, I'm very much defence optional, so I need a good 7, please, Mark. Just make sure I'm on the same team as Deevesy.
Let's move on then. Let's have a look at some of the other results that happened on the weekend.
Okay.
Finally get to have a look at some other results in the community.
Okay. Big set of results. Super Rugby Cymru, Bridgend RGC is postponed. Admiral Premiership, Neath 7, Beddau 10. In the Championship East, Bridgend Athletic postponed. Bridgend Athletic, Bridgend Home, both postponed when we played in Bridgend. Okay. Admiral Championship West, Glenneath losing to Newcastle Emlyn 37-33. Crummock 40, Tondy big win, 48 points away from home. Bournemouth 30, Ammanford 22. Trebarnos 30, Gosainen 22. There's a tight one. Kenfig Hill 27, Aberystwyth 26. It's a long way to travel to lose by a point, isn't it? And finishing off the Championship West, Dunvan 21, Tartar Steel 27. National League 1, Tenby United 36, Swansea Uplands 27, Lampeter 22, Wenarloedd 27. Good away win for Wenarloedd, doing well. National League 1 West Central, Skewin 17, Nantafachon 18, close one. Estragunlais 47, 10 winners over Maesteg Quins. Abercrave 42, Green Stars 27. Billthwells Slavera draw 21 all. Good away result for Slavera. And finally, to finish off League 1 West Central, Vardra 19, Hale Cow 24. National League 2 West, Ponte de Leis 39-0 winners over Betlws, so Betlws can join that club as well, the nil club. Lucca 15, Fishguard and Goodwick 5. Where's Goodwick? Must be close to Fishguard. Must have 6 houses in it, is it? And finishing off, Penclough 20, Whitland 12. National League West Central, Brinkethin 26, Mumbles 22. Pencoy 21, Aberafon Quins 41. Brynarman 6, Neath Athletic 18. Neath Athletic got a huge points difference. They're third in the league, but they got a hell of a points difference. South Gower 19, Morriston 17. Birchgrove 15, Puthcall 20. National League 3 West Central. Maesteg Celtic 42, Baglan 39, high scoring game. Carmarthen 25, Resolven 12. Seven Sisters 16, Rigos 17. Brincoke 22, Nantamoyle 17. And Tonmawr Torna, local derbies are postponed. League 4 West Central, Maesteg 43, Pontardawe 12. Crynant 15, Kevin Crew 19. Born Mine Athletic 54, Britain Ferry 18. And Penlan 41, Bridgend Sports 3. League 4 East Central, Llandaff 23, Brackla 26. And finally, League 5 West Central, Glencorrwg 54, Cumclinfell 13. Dunvan 10, Banwan 33. Taibach 32, Cumtuch 28. Achtwen 14, Cumgrach 42. Good away win for Cumgrach there. And the last two results, Clanrumney 20, Bridgend Athletic 2nd, 17. And finally, Beddau Athletic 17, Tondi Athletic 8. There's the results for this week from the community game.
Lots of good games there. Shame about no SRC, but obviously returns back this weekend.
Yeah,
Lots of Ospreys boys playing, I'd imagine. Ebervale, Landover on S4C on Thursday night.
Yeah, we get the odd Thursday game as well. I mean,
Yeah.
and midweek game when sometimes you pick up then, a week out from the rest of the results, depending when we record. So yeah, some big scores in there.
Let's say plenty of good rugby down the leagues. Go give it a watch.
And some good weather as well.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah. Once in a lifetime. It's at this point in the pod where I'm going to ask you to both like if you're enjoying it, and if you want to listen to us more, please drop us a subscribe on your podcasting platform of choice. We're just over 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We'd like to hit 2,500 by the end of the season. It'd be absolutely awesome. Let's head round this up then. We've got Glasgow at home, 7:30 kickoff at the Brewery Field. Gents, are we confident? Glasgow right off the back of putting 7 tries past the Dragons and nilling them. Do we think they're going to be as strong this weekend down in the Brewery, or are we going to turn them over?
Capable of it, yes. They are a very, very good team. Yeah, they've had a good start to the season. I think that for me, it's really, really simple. It is if the Ospreys play to the best of their abilities and they don't have those lulls and they kind of iron out those mistakes that we've seen a little bit in their execution, there's no reason why they can't go into win this game. But if they make similar mistakes that they made against Zebra, then they could be punished for that against a team like Glasgow. So, yeah, from my point of view, they can win it, but they're going to have to kind of keep that intensity for longer. I think it's going to be a really interesting game because I think it's the first game that they played against like a team that you would consider going to finish in the top half of the league, where you kind of think, well, it's at home. And there is a chance that like they can win. So it's going to be interesting to see in terms of just judging what the level of the Ospreys is at this point, to see how they actually approach it, if you get what I mean. So yeah, I think they can win, and I think that it's going to be a really, really interesting match, for sure. I don't see Glasgow coming down and winning by 25 points and the Ospreys scoring the odd penalty or getting nilled. I don't see that happening. So
just remember, we did beat them away from home last year, didn't we? Bonus point there, win.
Yeah.
But you look at the Glasgow Dragons game, and possession was fairly close. Was it 54-46 split in terms of possession? But again, it's what you do with the ball, isn't it? And we know what the Dragons are capable of. But they've got a solid lineup. They've got a tidy scrum. But if we can gain parity up front, okay, and the front five work like they did against Zebra, if we get parity, you look at the way our backs are going, we'll be scoring tries again, won't we? I've got great hope.
Yeah,
I've
I think
said
they've got a 6-day turnaround from playing us to the next Friday night. So they got us on the Saturday night, and then the next Friday night they got Bulls at home. So it will be interesting to see. Maybe this is wishful thinking. What sort of squad they bring over to Bridgend? Do you really want to bring your first choice boys over to Bridgend, knowing you've got Bulls at home the following week that you could maybe look to target? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what selection comes out of it. But no matter what side they select, I'd like to think we'd be more than competitive in that game. I think if we put the performances we put on the field in the first few games, I think we've got a really good chance. I've got an anecdote about one of the Glasgow players, actually. When I was under 16s at school, I was deciding whether I wanted to stay on sixth form or potentially move schools or not. And one of my factors was, do I think I'm going to make it into the first 15 when I go up into sixth form? And I remember speaking to rugby coach at the time and being like, I'm hearing on the grapevine they've signed this Scotland under 16 fly half centre, and I was a fly half centre at the time. And I was like, the guy in the year above me, he was named first team captain, and I was like, well, I'm not going to be picked ahead of him because he's first team captain. And he was like, yeah, but you could move to a new school and they could sign the Welsh under 16 centres, so you might not get in there either. But he was like, stick around and you never know, you might get picked. And I was like, there's no chance of getting picked. So I did end up moving on. And I think I made the right decision, because that 10 and 12 I was talking about. The 10 was Callum Sheedy, and the 12 they'd signed from Scotland under 16s was Adam Hastings. So I think I made the right decision in moving on.
have a bit of faith in your ability, Josh. We haven't seen you play. I think it's probably a really good decision.
I might be for the best, mine, Grant.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah,
Another written apology. Okay, right, this is you next, Zach.
I think the big thing about the wishful thinking at Glasgow, maybe not bringing down some of the big boys, is they lost to Benetton. And if you want to be serious in the league, if I think 2 losses in the first kind of 4 games is not something you really want. And so if they lose out at Brewery Field, then having to win against the Bulls, like it depends. I think they would see coming down to Wales as an opportunity to win. I think that's the truth of it. I think that a lot of teams, a team that has all those lions in it, would be thinking, hey, this is a game that we should win, and they would target to win. Losing against the Bulls is something they might be like, well, it's the Bulls, it's not the worst thing ever. But if we lost to like Benetton, who they'd expect to beat, and lost the Ospreys, who they'd expect to beat, I think they'd be. So I think they'll come fully loaded. But yeah, I still think that even if they do, there's no reason why, given the way the Ospreys have played, given the way they fronted up against the Bulls, for instance, they can't also do a job here as well. They'll just have to keep a good level of performance for 80 minutes, I think, to be honest. But yeah.
I think up front this summer we can really take it to them. I don't think they quite have the quality of pack they've necessarily used to have. I think they've lost a couple of... They've got Cummings, Alex Craig. But it's like, other than they're sort of missing their Johan Venters and just a couple of big names that they've had in previous years. And we managed to get parity last time we were up there with our, what was it, quite a pretty second choice front pack at the time. I can imagine when we're putting out Rhys Davis, James Fender, James Rassi, Moriarty, Deasy, coming out looking to kill them all. Quite frankly, it's not something I think it's something we'll just have the edge on them, especially with the Brewery Field giving us the proper rugby club atmosphere behind us. I think it's something that could really play into us quite well. I think it'll be tight, mind, but I don't think they're gonna come down looking for a 4-try bonus point probably, and a win. And I think we're going to make it very, very difficult for them. I just don't see them really getting off the floor.
Keith up against Tui Pilates will be interesting.
Yeah, big time.
That'll be very interesting. So, yeah.
I'm sorry about this, Grant,
Yeah.
but I'm really hoping for sideways rain in Bridgend. I just want it to be biblical, and I want Glasgow to go down there.
I'm just looking at my phone now. Dry.
Oh,
I was looking down there and going, let's just check to see if there's a massive advantage and we have another New Year's Day type environment. Nah.
oh, that is a shame.
Get
But
this.
I do tend to agree that I think they'll come fully loaded, and I don't think Franco Smith will have forgotten last year's result. I think that really wound them up, so they'll be gunning for us this year. But best of luck to them; they're going to need it.
Brewery Field factor might be important to him.
Yeah.
Rain or no rain.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a shame it's the wrong time of year to get all the Elvis's down, intimidate them. 2 weeks too late. Would have been perfect for a game like this. Let's round it up then. I want a score prediction and something funny, gents. You know the drill. Grant, do you want to lead us in?
Ospreys by 14. Are positive enough? The Bridgend factor will make the difference. The noise will make the difference. Maybe the smell from the burgers and whatever floating over the ground might distract the Glasgow players.
I respect it a lot. Josh?
I'm going to go Ospreys by 3.
Yeah, feels right. Yeah.
I was going to go Ospreys by 3 as well. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to say Ospreys by 3. Can I do that? Is that allowed? Are there rules?
No, there's no rules.
There's no rules. All right, I'm going Ospreys by 3, but it's going to be a drop goal at the end of the game. And that is when we're going to see the zebra come out of the tunnel onto the pitch and potentially disrupt the bouncy castle that's at the side of the ground. That's my... I'm sticking on the zebra theme for the next few weeks, I think.
We're going to get Blacking or not?
Yeah. Well, it'd be a kilt, right? Wouldn't it be kilts? I guess it would be kilts.
I love how Grant, just for thus on my video, if you're watching the YouTube recording, Grant's face at the moment is perfect.
Yeah, I think Grant's gone. We've lost Grant.
Yeah. Shame. I think I'm along the same lines of a drop goal winner, but I think we're going to win it by 2.
Okay.
Nice. What's your funny thing, Zach?
I see Adam Hastings having a proper stinker.
That's just funny.
Like a proper all-round, like, kicks going out on the full, sort of like Johnny Sexton-esque meltdown. Just see it happening.
Or worse, a Ronan O'Gara meltdown. Nothing beats a Ronan O'Gara meltdown.
That only happened if you ruffled his hair. Like, anyone touched his hair, oh, pull him at a ruck, that's it. He's gone.
Where's Melanie?
Yeah.
I think with that, it's time to call it for tonight. Bit of a longer episode, but lots of things to go through despite a slow news week. Thank you all for listening. I hope we're as up for the game as we are this Saturday, and let's hope for an encouraging result. Thank you all. Good night.
No stuff.
That was the Ospreys Alley. Please rate, review and share on socials if you can, and join us next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.